We explore it all, bringing you the scoop on special events, varietal concerts, heart-pumping athletic events, and fun fundraisers going on right here that you can be a part of. Don't miss all the A-list events and provocative personalities coming your way on the next edition of Community Spotlight.
Memorial Park in Egypt, Pennsylvania, RCN Television presents the Blue Mountain League Game of the Week. Tonight's matchup features the Creekers of Martins Creek. 16-11 on the season. They currently are sitting in 4th place, that last playoff spot. They'll take on the Starters Orioles. 17-9 on the season. They currently are in 2nd place and trying to guarantee themselves a playoff spot. The top 4 teams go into the Blue Mountain League playoffs just 2 weeks away. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Laubach along with Chris Michael. This should be an outstanding baseball game. And Chris, maybe neither one of these teams wants to play it because Starters has a 10-game winning streak. Martins Creek has a 5-game winning streak. Somebody's streak is going to end tonight.
And not only are they winning ball games, which always feels good, but they're winning the way you really like to win ball games. They're getting complete team efforts, pretty much 1 through 9 through the batting order. Everybody's hitting either a continual hitting streak coming in or just an amazing clip of hitting the ball. They're not hurting themselves in the field. Just a couple errors between both of these teams during this winning streak, and they're getting phenomenal pitching. Both teams are pitching well. Martins Creek's coming in with 28 games. Over the last 28 games pitched, 4 different pitchers. They've allowed just 1 earned run in those 4 games. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's 28 innings is what you meant with that 1 earned run, and you're right. That's absolutely phenomenal, and that was their bugaboo. They weren't getting good pitching, and they weren't fielding the ball very well. They were getting the 4 or 5 runs they usually need to win a ball game, but they were giving up 6 or 7 because of errors and maybe not some timely pitching.
Yeah, and with this winning streak, too, Pumpkin Miller from the Orioles is really worried about getting out to an early start. You think winners of 10 in a row, he'd be feeling good right now, but he says Martins Creek is a team that if we make mistakes, they will jump on it. It's no matter if they're winning streak, if they're losing, if we make mistakes, it's going to hurt us. So they're looking to get out to an early start today and continue to play good baseball as Martins Creek has been doing.
Yeah, what certainly Starters have been able to do is get really consistent as their 10-game winning streak has kind of revolved around everybody being here. That has been critical. They're getting good pitching, they're getting good hitting, and it is a ball club that can really hit the ball when they are on. This should be a great matchup tonight. Martins Creek taking on Starters. Both of them looking like they're going to get into the playoffs. We'll be back with tonight's starting lineups right after this timeout.
Calling all athletes who graduated from Allen and Deriff High Schools. We're looking for former coaches, players, and staff members who participated in high school football and basketball for a special edition of the RCN Sports Talk Show. We're planning a special program to honor former Canary and Husky athletes on the Tuesday preview day at this year's Allentown Fair. We'd like to gather as many former Allentonians to reminisce about classic sports moments in the city's history. Call 610-443-2841 for more information.
We are back. We welcome you back. It is actually a very nice evening. It's kind of warm, but it's not all that humid, and it's a good night for summer baseball. And why not have a good matchup? That's what we have here tonight. As right now, Chris Michael, only 2.5 games separating 2nd place and 5th place, and the top 4 get in. And I guess the schedule maker should get a big pat on the back because he's made sure that these teams are all going to play each other in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, some really good baseball coming up here the last few weeks, and a big key is that for both of these teams, they try to get everyone healthy. For starters, they are without a couple key people coming into tonight's ball game. Monshine, who's been pitching real well, is not available. Seltzer is not available tonight, and they're going to lose a couple more people for the next 2 nights after that. So they've done a real good job of keeping everybody together. That's one of the reasons why they've had so much success of late, but they're going to have to weather a bit of a storm here over the next 3 ball games without some key people.
So obviously this becomes a very key baseball game. So let's take a look at the Creekers and their starting lineup for tonight's ball game, as Eric Schmidt will put this team out on the field and with the sticks in their hands. Joe Buva will lead it off. He'll play second base. He'll wear number 4. Donnie Gensel is the third baseman. He'll wear number 2. Brandon Leslie, a rare pitcher who is hitting third. in this league, usually a DH. Not the case. This guy can really hit. He'll wear number 11. Jesse Borden is the cleanup hitter. That's his spot. He wears number 10. He's the first baseman. Brandon Nardella, the center fielder, will bat 5th and wear number 3. Kevin Walbert, number 21, will play left. Eric Schmidt back behind home plate, and that has been a real key to their 5-game winning streak. He's where he belongs after that finger injury. He's a catcher, number 19. Omar Torres, number 1, the right fielder. And Jim Borton, the shortstop, number 6. Defensively, this is what starters looks like. Tom Stout at first. Adam Sant is at second. Andrew Snyder and Dan Stahl round out the infield. Mark Washburn, Garrison Roush, Caleb Fick across the outfield. Pete McCauley behind home plate. On the mound, Justin Jackowitz. 43 and a third innings. He's given up 22 runs, 20 earned, 40 base hits. He's walked 14. Struck out a nice 34. 5-3 on the year with a 3.23 ERA. As the first pitch in his 10th game from Justin Jackowitz is a strike. Joe Buba steps in, batting a hefty .354. 17 hits, 3 doubles, 12 runs scored, 10 RBIs. So a good leadoff batter. That went up a little bit. 1-1 behind home plate. Our umpire is John Bockert. Out on the base paths is Bobby Varju. 2 very good men in blue tonight for this ball game. I'm Gary Laubach along with Chris Michael. Glad you're with us. Here's a chopper. It's going to be a tough play for Danny Stahl, but he'll make the play. And Chris, he's a guy that will never complain about the field because he gets here every game about 3:30 and he manicures this place. What a job he does. Nice play by Dan Stahl.
He was here even before the crew got here, getting everyone ready. Does a great job coming in with the glove hand stab. The ball rolls up just a little bit on his hands, but he stays with it as the ball got right at the cusp of his glove. And he just hung on to it long enough, brought it up, and a strong throw over to first base to get Joe Buba. That's a big key for Martins Creek this year, him getting on base. He's hit 12 in a row, and he's been really doing a great job setting the table.
Well, here's Donnie Gensel, 349, 22 hits. He leads the team in hits, tied with Brandon Nardella. 4 doubles, a triple, 18 runs scored. That's a team lead. He has 8 RBIs on the year, and he's a guy you want to try to keep off the bases. He leads the team in stolen bases with 6 of them. He looks at ball 1, the 1-0. That's a pitch on the outside part of the plate. Strike 1 on a good slider, 1-1.
Both pitchers starting the game tonight, their best pitch is the slider. They really have success. They'll throw it at any point in the count. Justin goes slider first and then fastball, and also will mix in a changeup from time to time.
Boy, right now he is finding the corners. The last 2 pitches right on the outside part of the plate. Not sure Donnie Gensel agreed with those 2 calls, but it is a 1-2 count for Justin Jackowitz. That one just off the outside corner. Good location, Chris. If you're going to get the outside corner, why not try to move it out just a hair? That's what Justin tried to do there. The 2-2. That one did not break enough, and the count goes full.
Yeah, that time it looked like bad location because you already missed on the outside corner. You don't want to go even further outside.
The 3-2 pitch. And that ball fouled off. It'll stay 3-2. The dimensions here, 311 down the left field line, 338 down the right field line. In the gaps, 375. And the signs have fallen down. 402 to straightaway center. And that just a hair low. For the first walk of the ball game, our first base runner of the ball game, 15th walk issued by Jackowitz this season.
Great eye by Gensel there, and give him credit for hanging in there with 2 strikes. He's took a couple pitches that were right around the plate. The 2-2 call was off the plate. That one was very close, but he works the walk.
So here is the pitcher, Brandon Leslie, 292 with 21 hits, 4 doubles, 10 runs scored, and 10 RBIs. And remember, Gensel was 6 stolen bases. Good rip by Leslie, strike 1. Martins Creek does not usually get big bunches of runs at a time. They're not a big power hitting baseball team. They're really kind of unlike starters, Chris. They're a team that kind of gets runs in small pieces, and they try to win ball games with good pitching. Inside, almost hit Leslie, 1-1.
Yeah, one of their keys is to getting out early and trying to play with the lead because they've got such great pitching. The one exception to that was when we saw them a couple weeks ago down in Hellertown. They got out to a 3-0 lead, and Hellertown just stormed back and really firing, put up some big offensive fireworks that night at Dimmock Park.
Yeah, probably one of the poorer games they played all year long. That's outside, 2-1. So Jackowitz walked Gensel, now behind in the count, 2-1 with one down here in the top of the first inning.
Orioles have a makeup game tomorrow, so they have 3 straight ball games here. So Pumpkin Room's really hoping for a solid long outing out of Jackowitz tonight.
That ball hit. Well, it's a broken bat, and it will drop in front. So the broken bat base hit by Brandon Leslie puts runners on first and second with one down as Gensel goes to second. And take another look at it.
Credit Garrison Roush out here. He does a little fake. Gary said the ball was, the bat was broken there, and the ball just died out there. But he put his glove out there like he was going to try to make a play, and as a result, Gensel had to hold up. If he reads that well off the bat, he could probably go first to third. But because of the little fake move by Roush in center field, Gensel had to be careful. He didn't go around second base and risk a double play back at first. So he has to stay on the second base.
So here's Jesse Borden. He is hitting .261 with 18 hits. He has a double, leads the team in home runs with 2, leads the team in RBIs with 15, and he has scored 15 runs on the season. He filled in for Eric Schmidt when Eric was injured. He filled in behind the plate. 1-1.
That's asking a lot of a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of experience to put on all that equipment in the middle of July and hang back there and play at this level of play. Jesse did a very solid job of hanging in there best he could, but I'm sure no one was happier that Eric was back behind the plate more than Jesse.
And maybe more than Eric, being the manager of the ball club. One of the problems, of course, they had was holding people on base. Eric's got a very strong arm. Jesse, not so much. Been around this league for quite a while. Right back. Oh, a great stab by Jackowitz. He's going to try to get 2. He gets it to Snyder. Snyder over to first baseman Stout, and a very nice 1-6-3 double play to end the inning. So for the Creekers, no runs on 1 base hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. Chris?
Snyder does a nice job here. He's looking in rhythm. There's a little bit of a hesitation by Jackowitz. But Snyder stayed back on it, was able to catch the ball and then get out of the way of the runner, make a strong throw over there, and then Tom Stout with a good scoop on at first base.
So the pitcher's favorite play gets rid of the Creekers in the top of the first. So let's take a look at the starter Orioles starting lineup. They'll lead it off with Garrison Roush. He'll play center field and wear number 8. Dan Stahl is the third baseman, number 28. And he'll bat second. Adam Sant, the second baseman, will bat third. Normally the shortstop, but he's been banged up a little bit. He's moved over to second base, number 19. Tom Stout, the venerable Tom Stout in this league, number 25. He's the first baseman. Pete McCauley, number 14, will catch. Number 22, Mark Washburn, will play left field and bat sixth. Caleb Fick is out in right field. He wears number 17. He'll bat seventh. Batting eighth, number 27, Dave Stout, the designated hitter. And batting ninth, number 2, Andrew Snyder. He is the shortstop. Andrew has moved over from second base to shortstop and has done a very good job filling in for Adam Sant. Defensively, this is what the Creekers look like. Jesse Borden back at first base, Joe Buba at second, Jim Borton at short, and Donnie Gensel is at third base. Across the outfield, Kevin Walbert in left, Brandon Nardella in center, and Omar Torres in right field. It's a very good defensive outfield. Eric Schmidt behind home plate, and out on the mound is Brandon Leslie. Appearing in his 9th game of the year, he's gone 20 in the third innings. He's given up 14 runs, 11 earned, 19 base hits. He has walked 6, he has struck out 18, and he's 1-2 on the season with a 3.79 ERA. But as Chris mentioned, this Creeker pitching staff has done a marvelous job. They've given up 1 earned run in the last 28 innings. And one thing about Brandon Leslie is he throws the ball pretty hard, and that really kind of hurts the hand, the left hand of Eric Schmidt. That's the one he put a gash in at work. He cut his finger badly. He missed about 5 ball games. And because of that, a fastball pitcher really hurts when he makes that catch.
Yeah, he hasn't faced the Orioles this year, but over the years and over his career, he has given this starter's team some fits. We mentioned the offense of the Orioles this year, but he has a nasty slider. He'll throw it at any point in the count, and you mentioned the fastball too. And he's just been a guy that over the years starters has had a hard time kind of figuring out, trying to put a lot of offensive numbers against. And again, they're without Rick Seltzer tonight, so that's without their number 4 hitter in the lineup, and they will have their work cut out for them.
Well, Pumpkin Millers Ball Club, Pumpkin in his 51st year of managing. Garrison Roush will step in, number 8, the center fielder, 347 on the season, 25 hits, leads the team in doubles with 8, leads the team in triples with 3. He has a home run, leads the team in runs scored with 29, 10 RBIs, and leads the team in stolen bases. So this guy is a key to the success of the Orioles. And there's a fastball, a little low, ball 1.
And much like Joe Buba with Martins Creek, it's not a coincidence that the leadoff hitters for both of these teams have been hot during this winning streak. They've been getting on base, they've been stealing bases, and they've been scoring runs.
2-0 to Roush. We'll get a chance. In fact, there you can see pretty well Eric Schmidt. He catches with 3 fingers because of that injury. 2-1. As he tries to eliminate as much as he can the pounding on that cut finger.
Yeah, catching is hard enough, but he's trying to catch the ball in a certain spot in his glove every time there to avoid pain. That's incredibly difficult.
3-1 now to Roush. Dan Stahl on deck. Pumpkin Miller really ecstatic about this ball club and the way they have played. They play a lot of away games to start the season because they're not allowed on the field early on. And this team has just put together this great winning streak. And Chris, that's kind of what this league is used to, the starters Orioles being right in the mix for the championship.
Yeah, they always seem to have great offensive firepower, especially in the middle of their lineup with guys who can put it out of the park. But they're getting good contributions. Leadoff hitters have been getting on, stealing bases, and they've really been playing much better defensively, and they've been getting outstanding pitching.
Strike 1. Dan Stahl, 271, 23 hits, 4 doubles. He's got a couple of home runs. 14 runs scored, 16 RBIs on the season. Showed no sign of bunting here. See whether Pumpkin's going to play for an early run. And he's behind in the count 0-2, so that eliminates the bunt opportunity.
Another fortuitous thing for starters this year is not only they're getting more numbers, the number of players coming out each game has been higher than last year, but it's the same 9 guys. You build a little bit of team chemistry and a little bit of a routine having the same 9 guys out there. Again, Seltzer not available tonight, though.
Check swing by Danny. That ball a little high and outside. You'll notice the Oriole batters look to the bench. Pumpkin gives the signals from the bench. Down at first base, Garrison Roush, nobody out, bottom of the first. Here goes the runner, and a little hit and run action, as that was a good slider that would have been a strike, so no choice for Dan Stahl. He had to go after it. 1-2. Roush has 14 stolen bases on the season, so he's a threat to go on any pitch. Outfielders playing straight away.
And right now would love to poke a ball through that right side, especially if Roush takes off again. You have that huge hole on the right side.
Another slider, fouled back. Count stays 1-2. Pumpkin said this guy right here does more work for this baseball team than just about anybody on his roster. And he gets a lot out of a lot of players. The Stouts certainly get here early and throw a lot of batting practice. But boy, I was here early, Chris. You were here early, and all we saw was Dan Stahl making this field look fabulous.
We're told he's usually the last one to leave, too. He'll drag the infield, make sure everything's put away, too. He really puts in his time for this team.
Good at bat here. And he keeps the ball alive again, so he's forcing Leslie to throw a lot of pitches.
Gary mentioned it's not real hot here, but it's still a little bit humid, and the last thing you want to have as a pitcher is a long at-bat early in the ball game. And Dan Stahl, by fouling off all these pitches, is making Leslie work.
Here goes the runner. And this one hit right at the second baseman. Because the runner was going, no chance for Buba to get a play at second. But Chris, noticed Buba didn't move as Garrison Roush was trying to steal second base. So it's a good thing he stayed where he was. It would have been a base hit.
That time Jim Borden covers. Otherwise, it would have been a hit and run single. Runners at first and third. And as you can see, the shortstop comes over. Buba stays put. Stahl successful in moving that runner up to second base, and also, again, productive at-bat because you took a lot of pitches out of the arm of Leslie.
Here's Adam Sant, leads the team in hitting with 361. With a 361 average, 22 hits, 8 doubles leads the team. He's got 5 home runs. That is the team lead. 14 runs scored and 18 RBIs, and he has a runner in scoring position. The 0-1 pitch. It's 0-2.
Adam, one of 4 players who comes into this ball game with an 8-game hitting streak.
Roush with good speed at second base. Could easily score on a single. Fouled off. Count stays 0-2.
Leslie had jumped ahead of Stahl 0-2, and Dan gave him a long at-bat. See if Sant tries to foul for a few pitches, and he'll probably try to hit that ball to the right side. As Gary mentioned, with Roush's speed, anything in the gap would easily score.
Low and outside, 1-2. These two teams playing for the 4th time this year. And the Orioles are 2-1 against Martins Creek. And that's going to be strike 3 looking as that pitch right at the knees and right on the outside part of the plate.
Another good breaking ball. Sant was looking for something else. You can see couldn't quite pull the trigger. He sees that tipping out of the zone, but Crockett rings him up. First strikeout of the ball game for Leslie.
And that brings up Tom Stout, 333 on the season. Leads the team in hits with 28 of them, 4 doubles and 4 home runs. 21 runs scored, and leads the team in RBIs with 21 of them. And Tom has announced that this will be his final season as a Blue Mountain League player. His namesake, Tom Stout, will be joining us in our basketball booth this year. He'll be joining me, sitting alongside of me in December.
But the Tom Stout that's in the batter's box now also said he was going to play another 12 years as long as Punkin was coaching.
Oh, I think that was Dave, wasn't it?
Oh, was that Dave?
I think that was Dave that said he'd play. Dave's already got 22 years in the league.
Well, the Stout
Tom
you'll be working
14.
with, the Stout you're working with is trying to get into the game. He's trying to get back in, I heard.
He's sitting right over here watching the ball game with his relatives in the lineup. 2-1 now.
And I'm told he does make his opinions known as a fan and a relative.
That ball hit hard. That could get out of here. A long run for Nardella. He's back, and he will corral it. That is a long way out there. And I think Tom Stout thought maybe he got enough of it. He did not. A good job by the center fielder, Brandon Nardella. No runs, there were no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base. 1 inning is in the books. It's 0-0. Stay with us.
Need a good excuse to get moving? Walk, run, or volunteer in the Lehigh Valley Health Network Marathon for VIA on Sunday, September 12th. Go to vianet.org and sign up to run the whole marathon, a half marathon, run as part of a team, or walk in a 5K. Still not your thing? Volunteer on race day and cheer on participants as they raise money for children and adults with disabilities. Register today at vianet.org to walk, run, or volunteer for the Lehigh Valley Health Network Marathon for VIA.
We are back. We welcome you back as stepping in as Brandon Nardella made that nice catch in center field to end the first inning. 338. He's having another good solid year. Leads the team in hits, or tied for the team lead in hits with 22. Leads the team in doubles with 5. He does have a home run on the season. 12 runs scored and 9 RBIs. That's low and outside. 2-1.
Nardella had a couple big hits a couple weeks ago when we saw him at Hellertown. Even when his team was down by double figures, he was one of those guys that was not quitting and continued to battle out there.
Foul ball, 2-2. He's been a mainstay, too, in this league, Brandon Nardella. As he's been now 8 years, hard to believe, because you sort of remember him when he played high school ball at Wilson. And he went to the community college and played, but he already has 8 seasons in the Blue Mountain League. Yeah, he's going to take a look at strike 3. He thought it was low and outside, and gives a look back at John Bacher. First strikeout of the ball game for Jackowitz. Here you get a look at Justin. Jackowitz now in his 6th season. He's not one of the local guys. And usually these guys, Chris, are all local high school guys, but he's from Nesquehoning. Kevin Walbert, 309 on the season with 17 hits, 1 double, 6 runs scored, 10 RBIs, 1-1 now to Walbert.
I think the Orioles and the Creekers, too, are two of those teams that their tradition is so great, too. They will get people from outside the area. Kevin is from Emmaus, but he's all comes over and plays Martins Creek. And the Starters have a couple people that outside the general area of where they play. Usually a team will stick in the close area of where they played their high school ball.
1-2 now to Kevin Walbert. Top of the second, no score. Ooh, that pitch looked good from here. 2-2. Even Kevin, I think, kind of happy that was called a ball. Fouled it back, 2-2.
Kind of talked about this during the last Martins Creek game, but a lot of these people on Martins Creek had played together at Northampton Community College, and they have a nice baseball program there, and it has continued to build and into a lot of team unity, and these guys have come back to play at Martins Creek.
2-2 count to Walbert. Punches it down to third. Won't be a real easy play for Stahl, but he makes it look easy for out number 2. Ball came up to him very nicely. He just stayed back on it. And it turned out to be an easy play, Chris.
And didn't get any momentum going to third base. That's probably one of the toughest parts of that big hop there is he had to kind of go back towards the bag and out towards the line a little bit. Couldn't get any momentum, so he had to just replant himself and then utilize that strong arm to throw across the diamond and get Walbert, who does run pretty well.
So that brings up the 7th best hitter in the Blue Mountain League, Eric Schmidt, batting .367. Missed a lot of ball games, so his 11 base hits doesn't sound all that impressive. 3 doubles, 8 runs scored, and 5 RBIs. And he did not care much for that call. That really looked inside, Chris. 1-1.
Could argue if both sides are disagreeing, then everything's equal.
Yeah, that's
the pitchers hate that. Pitchers want consistency, but hasn't affected the game so far with a couple calls.
1-2. Looks like Jackowitz has a very good slider tonight. And he's got a little juice on his fastball. Working out of a stretch. Fouled back by Schmidt.
Yeah, the slider's really the key for Justin. He loves to throw that, loves to throw it at different parts in the count and spot at different places. Has a good fastball too, but when he has the slider working for him, he's really effective.
John Bacher does a little housekeeping. Nice white plate, ready to go. And even Dan Stahl responsible for that. He painted the plate as his last duty in getting the field ready. 2-2. The Creekers have the Reds on Thursday. And the Reds currently ahead of them by a game. The Hawks on Sunday. The Royals on Tuesday. We'll have that game for you next Tuesday night. And the Giants on Thursday. So they only have 4 left. They're right on schedule. And Eric knew that was a strike. He looked at it come right down on the inside part of the plate. Second strikeout of the inning, and Chris, another look at it.
Once again, Little break to it on the inside part of the plate, stayed, and not a whole lot of break actually. It looked like Eric thought it was going to come in a little bit more, and it hung right on the outside corner for the second strikeout by Jackowitz of the ball game.
So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We'll move to the bottom of the second, no score. Don't replace it, relace it. Tom Schwindy has been repairing baseball gloves for over 20 years. He not only relaces gloves, but repairs torn and broken gloves as well. All his material is top quality, and his many different colors of lacing will have you looking like a pro. Reasonable prices along with a 3-year guarantee on every repair is what separates him from his competition. Check him out at schwindysgloverelacing.com. Mention this ad when contacting him. You'll receive a $5 credit off any repair from the web page price list. Tom Schwindy at schwindysgloverelacing.com. Move to the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Macaulay, Washburn, and Fick to get their first look at Brandon Leslie as we await Eric Schmidt, as he was the last to bat in that inning. Got to put on all that equipment as you get a look at Brandon Nardello doing some soft tossing out in the outfield.
Good use of the time by Brandon Leslie during that time. He went over and talked to the umpire a little bit. Was yucking it up with John Bockert. May not help with the calls, but you know you get a little bit of a relationship when you're working with the umpire. Gary, you know that very well.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt when you like the guy out there and you want to try to be as fair as possible and want to keep him loose out there.
The only time it hurts is if the ump doesn't like you and he doesn't want to talk to you.
John talks to everyone, though.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Actually,
Bobby Varju's a gabber too. He's out along the first baseline.
And you know, the last time we saw him in Hellertown, there was a dispute over the ground rules. We said he might have made a mistake. Well, it turns out we talked to him after the game about the ground rules, and he was correct. So, in about 6 years of doing games, he still hasn't made a mistake. I don't want to jinx him, but really, he has been a solid umpire for many years now.
Well, what I also liked about that is it proved that we had conscientious viewers, because Duke Helm emailed me the rule. From having played so many games over there, Duke knew exactly what the rule was, and he sent me a nice email explaining everything. So even though the rule doesn't appear to make sense as far as the line is concerned, that was the rule. The umpires were right. Pete Macaulay, 345 on the year. And he waves at that one. He's behind now 0-2.
I thought I was safe talking to a former Royal who I would assume would know the ground rules there, but apparently he was incorrect as far as the ground rules. So that's led to the confusion.
Macaulay, 20 hits, 6 doubles, 7 runs scored, 7 RBIs. Punches at this one. He'll pop it up. Should be an easy play for Joe Buba. It is. He puts it away for out number 1. Pitchers look strong, Chris.
And Macaulay that time, late swing at the breaking ball again. A hard slider. Got it up, and an easy play for Buba.
Here's the caddy beverage guy, Mark Washburn, 292 on the year with 21 hits, 5 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. That's a good mix of power hitting. 15 runs scored and 16 RBIs. Takes a rip at that one, strike 1. Mark never gets cheated. Outside and high, 1-1. Talked about the remaining schedule for the Creekers. I'll give you the Orioles in a moment, right after this pitch. 1-2. Orioles, as Chris mentioned, play tomorrow against the Braves, a makeup game. The Giants on Thursday away. The Dodgers at Lineport on Sunday. We'll take on the Falcons here on Tuesday. That could be a huge game. And then the Royals next Friday. So nobody's going to limp their way into the playoffs, Chris. They're going to have to beat some of the teams that are either right above them or right below them.
Yeah, Pumpkin pointed out to us, too, even if he makes the playoffs by playing .500 ball, he doesn't want to limp into the playoffs. He doesn't want to be playing or coming down off of the great brand of baseball that has been going on the last couple weeks for the Orioles. He wants to continue this solid play and continue that momentum into the playoffs.
1-2 count, 1 down. Both pitchers early on have been around the plate. They've looked strong, good fastball, good location. Fouled off, 1-2. Usual lawn chair set here at Egypt Memorial Park on both sides.
Good location with that last pitch again by Leslie. Kept it up and away from him. It was a strike. Washburn, all he could do was foul that one off.
And a good pitch for the strikeout, his second strikeout of the ball game. And another look at it.
You see the slider again, as opposed to the break that we saw a moment ago that was from right to left. That one had some drop on it, and Washburn swung over it.
Almost looked like a split finger. Here's Caleb Fick, 176 on the year with 3 base hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Caleb, of course, who played at Emmaus. And you think about Caleb Fick as a baseball player. Well, Caleb Fick is the starting quarterback for Lebanon Valley. So he's just a terrific athlete. And, you know, he's going to have to get out of here in the middle of August, get ready for football season. 0-2 to Fick.
Right now, we've been pretty lucky with weather in the Blue Mountain League all season long, just a handful of makeup games here and there. The last thing either team that makes it to the championship round would like is some rain delays, because that would push people back, and you might lose some people that are going to college or have some other obligations once you get towards the middle of the month of August.
Yeah, depleted roster is something neither one of these two managers want. As Punkin, the first to say, the reason they've won 10 games in a row is because he's had his same lineup for 3 weeks. So he's had good pitching and good hitting. And he's had a lot of timely hits, getting them when they need them. Outside, good waste, 1-2.
Really, I think at least 4 of the 5 teams that are contending to make the playoffs have a couple college people that have been key contributors this year.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Well, it's going to be strike 3. Call on the outside part of the plate. So that will take care of the second inning. The pitchers continue to look very strong. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. The starter's sponsor, Dave Rank, will be joining me when I come back. In the top of the third, we've got no score. Stay with us.
The place for hometown sports and community affairs. This is RCN TV.
We are back. We welcome you back. 0-0 as we move to the top of the third. Starters is with us tonight. They've been with us ever since we've been doing Blue Mountain League baseball. Starters Pub, Starters Riverport, Starters Clubhouse Grill. Great food, great atmosphere, a lot of fun. Make sure you get over to any one of those 3 starters. Speaking of starters, here's Omar Torres with his first time at bat. Comes in batting .237 with 14 hits, a couple of doubles, 13 runs scored, and 8 RBIs. I am joined at the microphone by the starters Orioles sponsor and one of our fine Blue Mountain League Game of the Week sponsors, Dave Rank. And Dave, welcome to the ball game, and certainly thank you for bringing some of that great starters food with you.
Had to definitely bring it, Gary.
It's the only way we get you on the air.
You called me a half hour before I got here.
There's a solid base hit by Torres in right center field, and he's going to get himself a stand-up double to start the top of the third inning. So Dave Rank brings a little offense to this ball game. The pitchers have been dominating, and a leadoff double by the Creekers will bring Jim Borton to the plate, batting .197, 15 hits, a couple of doubles, a home run, 13 runs scored, 17 RBIs. Well, that's a good piece of hitting. You know, Dave, we were watching Torres before the ball game, and he took a little extra coaching from Eric Schmidt. He had him do a little ball toss out there so he could get his eye on the ball and get his eye-hand coordination, and it paid off on that at-bat.
He crushed that one. There's no doubt about it.
There's ball 1 to Borton. Dave, I think, we have a lot of viewers out there who may wonder about sponsoring a Blue Mountain League team or sponsoring the broadcast. You've been doing it ever since Starters has asked you to get involved, and ever since we asked you to get involved. Why do you do it? Why do you find this brand of baseball something you want to be associated with?
I think first of all, the gentlemen that represent the teams in this league are absolutely outstanding young men. And as I told Punkin when he sponsored the team, the two things you look for is a group of young guys that are number one class people to play on your team, and it's obvious that Starters has found that, and Punkin Miller does a great job in getting these people together. And as I told him, I mean, the main goal here is to win the Sportsmanship Award every year. If you do that, you're going to compete and contend for a title if you have the right players playing.
Yeah, in all the games we've broadcast, we have seen nothing but that kind of sportsmanship that you talked about. You've sponsored this team now into your 6th year, and they are a staple in this league. The last team other than Hellertown or Martins Creek to win a Blue Mountain League championship is the Orioles, the Starters Orioles. And this year, Dave, they've put a solid team on the field. They look like a contender again.
They're playing right now. They're playing very well. They had a slow start, as you know. I think they were 7-9 at one point in time, and they've won, I think, now 8 or 9 in a row. 10 in a row, is it? 10 in a row,
yep.
It's absolutely phenomenal what they're doing. And coming back, let's hope they can rub off on the Phillies. Maybe they can come through and win 10 in a row.
It's ugly right now out of Philadelphia. That was a strikeout of Jim Borton, as the third strikeout of the game by Jackowitz came at a good time. And as Chris mentioned, the leadoff batters have been key to the successes of these two teams. And here's Joe Buba. He grounded to third in the first on a good play by Dan Stahl. And you know, you raised a couple of pitchers yourself, and what these guys are doing tonight, David, is they're keeping the ball around the plate. And that's a good idea. Keep guys off the bases.
Well, just watching this here tonight, if you see what both pitchers are doing, they're both keeping the ball down. They're not bringing it up in the strike zone. They're mixing their pitches extremely well, which is catching a lot of the guys off guard. So I think the best hit tonight, other than Torres' hit, was Tommy Stout's. I mean, he hit it to the deepest part of the park, and you know, you have your guy sitting out there in the scaffolding. I don't think everybody thought that would come into play until he hit the ball out there.
Well, it's funny how the two Stouts talked about whether that's a home run if you hit our scaffolding before the ball game. As we get a ball here that gets by catcher McCauley, he'll fire it down and just getting in under the tag. Good hustle by McCauley, but that will go down as a pass ball and allow Torres to get to third base. There you get a look at it. Boy, Dave, that play was a lot closer than I thought it would be once it got to the backstop.
He hesitated before he left. He actually stopped. He didn't take off. He took off, stopped, and then he took off again for the bag. And Collier made a great play.
We're 90 feet away now, the first run of the ball game, and certainly Boob is one of those guys that can get his bat on the ball. The count evened up at 2-2.
This young guy's been around a while, and if you follow Blue Mountain Ball, he always seems to come up with a big hit at the right time. So,
yeah, he is a tough out, Joe Buba. Played his ball at Liberty 9 years in the league. Tried to change up on him that time, Jackowitz, and managed to get a piece of it. Count stays 2-2. I imagine business was pretty good during the World Cup. That got a lot of people excited.
World Cup was great and kind of surprising. The USA teams, it was like watching the Philadelphia Eagles at Starters. I mean, the amount of people that showed up. I even had John Runyon come up for the one game. He was in town and he stopped over.
Ooh, that little chin music there. Backing away as Buba. The count runs full.
But it's worked out very well, Gary. I mean, the World Cup was actually exciting this year, and it's at Starters, we did 34 burgers for the 34 teams playing in the World Cup.
Yeah, it was over. Everyone had a name associated with one of the teams. That's going to be troublesome. That will get a run scored. Nice play by Dan Stahl. Stahl did what he could do. There was no way he was going to stop the run, but he certainly kept off the base pass. Joe Buba. That'll be an RBI for Buba. Another look. Dave, let's let you call this one.
I'll tell you what, Dan made a great play. There's no doubt about it, going into the hole. Bubba's a very fast runner, as I remember him back when he played at Liberty, actually, in high school. And heck of a runner, and just got beat there by a step at the bag. And so Dan made a great play on that infield ground ball.
So the pass ball or wild pitch, depending on how it was scored, looms large. As that got Torres to third base, it allowed him to score. He obviously would not have scored from second. Here's Donnie Gensel. Gensel walked in the first. He looks at strike one. One run across, nobody on. Top of the third inning, so the Creekers draw the first blood of this ball game. Going outside, ball 1, 1-1.
As you can see, Gary, they're keeping the ball down. Everywhere you go, everything's a ground ball, and just like the pass ball that happened before, that ball was just in the dirt. I don't think it was that bad a pitch.
Both these pitchers have good velocity besides. Low and inside, ball 2, 2-1. Imagine your boys are done playing baseball, huh?
Both of them are finished, Gary. They're both working at the restaurant right now, as well as my daughter, and my daughter just had a child that became a grandfather.
Well, congratulations. I didn't know that.
Little baby boy. So that was exciting, no doubt about it. And it does change your life, I will tell you.
Certainly does.
As you know.
As I know, I've got 3. 2-2 count now to Donnie Gensel. 2 down. Punched foul. And Chris Popick, who is our third base cameraman, just did his best imitation of Dancing with the Stars as he jumped off. I don't know whether we have a look at it. You'll see Chris as he gets out of the way. Can be dangerous down there, showing his agility. 2-2. We were told, although Chris and I are so into what we're doing when we're on the air, David, that we were told that during our pregame, Ball in the Dirt 3-2, that a ball whizzed by our heads as we were doing the pregame, and neither one of us even flinched. We just, as professionals, we just kept going.
Gary, that's why. That's exactly right. Nothing up there, and he's got glasses. Couldn't see it anyway.
That's outside, ball 4. So Gensel is a 2-out base runner, as he's walked twice in the ball game. And that is just the second walk issued by Jackowitz. And that will bring up Brandon Leslie, the pitcher.
Actually put that ball in a good spot.
Boy, last night, I don't know, were you watching the Phillies last night at all?
Absolutely.
Kyle Kendrick comes to the plate, 2 outs, nobody on. And the pitcher walks him on 4 pitches, and it led to 2 Phillies runs. I mean, you have to be kicking yourself when you walk the pitcher in the major leagues.
You think that would have kept him up because he was sent down today, if you're unaware.
Well, you know, after watching the results.
I think they're going to get him here.
No, they will not. That will be another wild pitch. We'll call that one a wild pitch and even things up here. As it just does skitter away, and McCauley did not know where it was. Well, he's got a strong arm, though.
Strong arm, quick release. He did everything right on that play, but got a good jump there at first base. There's no doubt about it, to get down.
Well, Leslie's going to try to make him pay for that walk. There's a hard shot down to shortstop, gobbled up by Andrew Snyder, and he makes the play over to first base. So no more harm done, as 1 run scored on 1 hit. There were no errors in the inning, and 1 runner left on base at the end of 2.5. The Creekers lead this one by a 1-0 score. Take another look at the play here by Andrew Snyder. Oh, no, this is going to be the pass ball, wild pitch.
As you can tell, that was a close play.
David, it's been a tough economy, and because of the economy, I wonder, has it affected your business at all, or are things just as exciting there as they always are?
Well, we have a lot of fun, obviously, at Starters. I mean, with sports going on, Gary, and everything else, and the people still supporting us, it's been actually excellent for us. I think the economy, it's not just the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. All businesses are down right now, and all of us are trying to survive the last 2 years. And but you know what we try to do is still try to be a part of the community, and you find that there's a lot of people like myself out there that want to participate with organizations like the Blue Mountain League, various charitable organizations. As you know, I'm chairman of the Heart Association this year, which is going on in September. But we've tried to get a lot of different organizations. We have about 100 of them or so that participate in various dine to donates that we have at our restaurant, where we donate back 10% of the meals that people come in to eat back to those charitable organizations. And because of that, that's kept us involved. It keeps our stuff up, because we know what we're doing even in a bad economy. We're trying to help the community, help people out with raising funds for great causes.
Well, you do that almost every single day when you're open. There you get a look at the starters trivia question of the night. Ryan Driscoll of Martins Creek, Nick Bowen of Hellertown, and Mike Pavolko of Vinecrest all have 80% winning percentages the last 2 years. Of the 3 pitchers, who has the highest winning percentage? We'll give you that answer. Once again, Starters Pub on Route 378, Starters Riverport, West 2nd Street in Bethlehem, and Starters Clubhouse. That's one of my favorite spots at the Bethlehem Golf Club. And here steps up Dave Stout, the designated hitter, batting .259 with 15 hits, 5 doubles, 7 runs scored, and 8 RBIs. Dave in his 23rd year of Blue Mountain League Baseball.
Dave's been around a long time, and fortunately he and his brother come down to Starters quite a bit. And I get to see Dave quite a bit.
And we mentioned Tom Stout is here tonight to watch the other Stouts play. And Tom will be joining me during basketball season. He'll sit in the spot vacated by the old coach, Dick Tracy, who retired this past season. That ball is punched
There you go.
out into right field. So a leadoff base hit by Dave Stout as he represents the tying run. The first hit of the ball game by Starters. Well, this guy has been around so long that where the ball is pitched, that's where he goes to hit it.
The ball was down outside, and he absolutely is a great hitter up there. Hey, there's no doubt about it. He's been around a long time, knows what to do with the ball, and took that bat right to the pitch and put it right over the second baseman's head.
This guy's a great bunter. Let's see if he's bunting. Well, he is, and he puts down
a
perfect
great
bunt. There hasn't been anybody much more valuable in this ball club than Andrew Snyder. He comes in batting .351 with 20 hits. He has a triple, 9 runs scored, 8 RBIs. Those numbers not all that dramatic, but he gets the little things accomplished. And when he had to move over to play shortstop, he did that, and he has done it pretty much flawlessly for Punkin Miller's ball club. So Andrew Snyder having a good, solid season this year for the Orioles. That brings up Garrison Roush, the top of the order. Garrison walked in the first. So he carries that .347 batting average to the plate. Little low, ball 1. Tying run at second in the person of Dave Stout.
Gary, I realize why you like to go to the clubhouse, because every time you come to Riverport, your grandson's working there, and I know you're tired of leaving those $50 tips for him when you come down.
It's killing me. I mean, I love to go there. By the way, there are no better ribs on the East Coast than your ribs.
I appreciate that, Gary. Thank you.
My goodness. The Jack Daniel's sauce, sometimes I just drink the sauce. You know what I mean? But they are the best ribs going. But you're right. When Brian, Dave was so nice to give Brian a summer job. He's at the University of Delaware, and when I get there, you know, your bill's not so high, but that tip bill is a killer.
Absolutely, and we tell them to make sure when you're there that thing should be minimum of $100, but you've only been leaving 50, Gary. So I know why you're going to the clubhouse. There's no doubt about it, because he's not up there.
That's right. I can hide in there. But I get a chance to play a few holes, so that's not bad.
We're going to move him up to the clubhouse when you're there. There's no doubt about it.
3-1 count now to Roush. There's a strike, so the count goes full. 1 down, runner at second. And Starters behind by a 1-0 deficit.
Garrison's a great hitter, so let's hope he can just make contact.
Like Chris mentioned, he's got quite a hitting streak. There, he punches the ball out into left field. The pitch was up, and he couldn't do much with it. I think it probably would have been ball 4. What it is out number 2. Dave, you'll see it. This pitch is up and outside.
But as anything, it's a close pitch, too close to take. And he did the right thing. He went with the pitch.
So here's Dan Stahl trying to get one through the infield and tie this ball game up. Good rip at it. Stahl grounded to second in the first. In fact, hit the ball very hard as he was trying to hit behind Garrison Roush. Roush was on the move on that pitch. And Buba was staying at second. The second base was being covered by the shortstop and went right at Buba. 1-1 on the slider. David, another thing about your places that I think are so fascinating is the memorabilia that you have at all of them. You know, I've watched you in action at various auctions, so I know how you get all that stuff. There's another broken bat, our second of the night, as this is going to drop in front of Nardella, and we're going to have ourselves a tie score. So there's that timely piece of hitting right off the end of the bat by Dan Stahl, and he'll get himself an RBI base hit. Dave Stout comes around to score the tying run. Sometimes it's not how hard you hit it, Dave.
That's exactly right. And that was a great piece of hitting right there. There's no doubt about it.
Did you ever inventory all that stuff you have? Do you have any idea the value of all those things you have on the wall?
Absolutely do. Absolutely do, Gary. There's some unique pieces there, as you very well know, that we have.
Here goes the runner. Flip throw, but Stahl will be in there with his 5th stolen base of the year. That time he just got a fabulous jump.
Gary, talking about the pieces of memorabilia, one of the most unique pieces we have there is the...
Take a look at it here. You see the good jump. And he's safe again. You're talking about
great piece of running.
A unique piece.
Yeah, the unique piece I have is the ball signed by the presidents of the United States going back to Dwight Eisenhower. I have a baseball signed by all the presidents back to Dwight Eisenhower right up and through George Bush Jr., including Kennedy's ball, which is absolutely one of the neatest pieces I've ever seen. It was a pop-up.
Fly ball. Kevin Walbert will put it away for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before we knotted things up. 1 run on 1 hit. No errors in the inning, or make that 2 base hits. No errors in the inning, and 1 runner left on base. At the end of 3, we're tied at 1-1. And thanks so much for Dave Rank stopping by and chatting with us. Always great to see you.
Gary.
And thanks for your sponsorship.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Chris.
Chris Michael will take over the play-by-play duties when we come back. It's 1-1. It's the Blue Mountain League Game of the Week.
From digital quick print, full color printing on our Heidelberg Quickmaster DI to long run 4 and 5 color printing on our new 5-color Heidelberg Speedmaster with inline aqueous coating. Harmony Press's digital press technicians have the experience to prepare your files for direct-to-press technology. Our full binary services complement your quality color job with folding, stitching, die cutting with any finished services needed to complete your jobs. Harmony Press, family owned and operated in the Lehigh Valley for over 50 years.
The place for hometown sports and community affairs. This is RCN TV.
To Egypt Memorial Park, along with